dark and scary and wet out here.
It's not dark and scary in here. It's rolling. Let's go.
The Constitution of the United States of America, Article 1, Section 5. Each house shall be the judge of elections, returns, and qualifications of its own members, and a majority of each shall constitute a quorum to do business. But a smaller number may adjourn from day to day, and may be authorized to compel the attendance of absent members in such manner and under such penalties as each house may provide. Each house may determine the rules of its proceedings, punish its members for disorderly behavior, and with the concurrence of 2/3, expel a member. Each house shall keep a journal of its proceedings, and from time to time publish the same, excepting such parts as may be in their judgment require secrecy. And the yeas and nays of the members of either house on any question shall, at desire of 1/5 of those present, be entered on the journal. Neither house during the session of Congress shall, without the consent of the other, adjourn for more than 3 days, nor to any other place than that in which the two houses shall be sitting. What in the world? You gotta love this one, folks. Those two teachers must have taken a long lunch or something. It's like they wrote all the words for these sentences and just threw them up in the air and put them in the order they fell on the floor. Let's make some sense of this crazy thing. First, it says the House of Representatives shall, read that as will, be the judge of the elections, the returns for those elections, i.e. the actual votes, and the actual qualifications of the members of the House of Representatives. And it says the Senate shall be the judge of the elections, returns, and qualifications of the members of the Senate. This has been used a few times in disputed elections. It is usually highly controversial and very partisan. It works like this. If the losing candidate doesn't agree with how the state recount was conducted, he can ask the chamber of Congress he was running for to judge the election. There have been some crazy ones too, including a member of the House from Indiana being seated by a margin of only 4 votes out of 233,000 in 1984. Still in the same sentence, folks, stay with me. Next part defines a quorum, which according to the Constitution is a majority that is 1/2 of the membership plus 1 in both the Senate and the House of Representatives. So to do business right now, that is 218 representatives and 51 senators in person in the Capitol, and allows that the smaller part of each chamber may be allowed to adjourn for a day or so. In other words, they are required to have 50% plus 1 in town. This definition of quorum has only been changed twice that I could find in recent times, with one of those times being the House and Senate meeting virtually during a recent heavy cold and flu season in the last Congress. Unbelievably, they still couldn't seem to get everyone in the same room at the same time, despite that room being online. However, the quorum clause is there for a reason. George Mason argued that not requiring a majority to be present would allow the closer states to set laws simply because the states that were further away physically would have more difficulty just getting to the meeting. So yes, quorums are important for fair representation. This is still the same sentence. Bear with me, folks. It goes on to say each body can compel the attendance of absent members to form a quorum. And in 1798, the Senate adopted a rule that less than a quorum could authorize expenses for the sergeant at arms to bring back absent members. And those offending members would be financially responsible to reimburse those expenses personally. 1 month later, the Senate used this rule to bring back enough senators to enact one of the most repressive and despised statutes in history, the Alien and Sedition Act of 1798, which provided penalties of fines and imprisonment for even just criticizing Congress or the president. Dozens of journalists were prosecuted under the act, leading to so much anger from the people at the government that it cost John Adams his presidency and a political shift in the Congress. Fortunately, that abomination expired in 1801. Let me reiterate this. The Senate in 1798 were constitutionally allowed to make this rule. In 1798, they used this rule to force members back to vote in a law that was unconstitutional in that it violated the entire population's First Amendment rights. This is where you, being the government, comes into play. This outraged the populace to such an extent that they voted out both the president and enough of the Congress to Yes, you guessed it. Change the direction of the country. All right, we finally made it to the second sentence. Okay, this clause just says the House and the Senate will set the rules for their own bodies, punish bad behavior, and it sets the minimum vote to expel a member at 2/3 of the body, i.e. House or Senate, that member is serving in. In other words, good luck with that one. The next clause is about the congressional record. Because the people are the government, both houses of Congress are required to keep records of their proceedings and publish them so they can be reviewed by the people. If 1/5 of the body requests a roll call vote, it must be done as well. I personally believe that every vote should be a roll call vote. I really want to know how my representative is voting. Any member can read anything into the congressional record, however, making it public record. In the 90s, C-SPAN started broadcasting all congressional sessions on cable. C-SPAN's coverage has all but replaced everything but roll call votes in the congressional record. And the last clause just says that one house or the other can adjourn for up to 3 days during a congressional session, but must stay in the city they are meeting in. Keeping track of our employees' actions is part of our civic responsibility. No matter whether you are a waitress, a truck driver, a construction worker, or even a doctor or lawyer, all of us have the responsibility to look over the shoulders of the men and women we send to represent us. We send them up to read the bills they are passing that will govern our lives so that we don't have to spend this time ourselves. We have the right to demand that they do their job diligently, just like our employers have the right to ask that same thing from us. We are supposed to be ungovernable without our consent. We're all rowdy cowboys, and we're meant to be that from the start. We take charge of our own lives and responsibility for our families and our own well-being. We are all meant to be leaders. Our country has been the most rambunctious group of misfits in the entire world for hundreds of years. We ask other countries to send us their wretched refuse, yearning to breathe free, because that's what we are and have always been. So be ungovernable. Be the government instead. Be rowdy yet civil, proud yet humble, and always be free. It's what we were meant to be. As always, thank you for watching my channel, and keep the dirty side down.
1,588 miles to go. Yeah, I seen a couple in the back over here. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah, this in about 10 minutes.
All right, we'll get turned around.
In 10 minutes? Fine.
Figured you'd like this one.
That's my favorite spot.
That's why I picked it every time.
Back there?
Yeah.
Tell my people, yeah, I'll get out of here.
So you're gonna go turn around again? There's a car right there. Oh yeah.
Get in it.